There's something very interesting that I've been noticing happening lately. And I'm not here to mock it. I think it's an absolute great thing for sure. But I find it very interesting that now some of the most popular mainstream voices out there, and when I say mainstream, I'm not talking the traditional mainstream. I'm more talking about the new alternative mainstream, the, most popular voices out there in the alternative media space, such as, Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and people, like this. I find it very interesting that these folks are finally starting to come around to understanding things that a lot of us came into, 15, 20 years ago. And now these things are being talked about openly, and it's reaching millions of people, where before, back like in 2009, when I first came into this type of knowledge and information, it was a very small niche of people that were there, sucking up this information. And at that time, when you would talk about it, you got looked at cross eyed, googly eyed, every which way but straight. And everybody thought you were some weirdo, kooky, looky, whatever, one flew over the cuckoo nest. But now these topics have entered the mainstream, the alternative mainstream. They are the topics of discussion today. And I just find it very interesting that now these things are being discussed openly, where before there was clearly an effort to try and suppress these things and to keep them on the down low, if you will. But again, it's a great thing to see because this truth needs to come out. And so an example of this the other day, and the whole reason why I decided to create this video, is because the other day I heard Candace Owens mention somebody that I used to listen to and somebody that I highly respected and looked up to very much. And in my opinion, one of the great researchers and a fantastic source of truth. And that is Rob Skiba. Candace, as of lately, has been going down many different rabbit holes, and she's been talking all kinds of stuff here that I almost can't believe what I'm hearing, because I never thought that these type of topics would reach the scale of people that it's reaching today by voices as loud and as popular as hers. And so it's wonderful, because I can tell you that if she is highlighting the research of someone like Rob Skiba, then she is absolutely leading people directly, face first, into a lot of truths. But with that, there's also something that's still very curious to me. And that is that Candace, she appears to be this amazing investigator, like absolutely amazing investigator. When it comes to this Charlie Kirk topic, she is the one leading the charge on trying to find out what truly happened there. Single-handedly. I mean, there's other people out there, but no one with a platform as distinguished and as big as hers. And it's clear that she is on point with her investigation. I mean, she has brought things into the light that I'm not even sure how she went about doing it, but she did. And she is able to dig up the most amazing evidence and to bring those things to the surface so that, the world can see the lies in the official narratives. But I have to wonder, how can you be that great of an investigator? And I mean, like Sherlock Holmes level investigator. She is amazing, the stuff that she digs up and brings out to the surface. But I have to wonder, how is it that you can come to all these different conclusions through your research and investigations? And yet, something as simple as the lie of Catholicism that would literally take you a total of maybe 5 minutes to come to a conclusion of the corruption and the evil nature behind that organized religion. And yet, she has fallen for that. How is it that you can see through all these other things in the world, but you can't see Catholicism for its pagan nature when it's clearly right there at the surface already? Doesn't take much digging to come to that conclusion. And so you have to wonder, like, how is it that you can be so on point with all of these other areas of research and investigation, but with this, naive and just can't see it? I don't know. I don't understand. I surely do not understand. But it's interesting to me because it's also leading clearly a lot of other people in that direction. Because unfortunately, most people are followers and not leaders. And that's just the unfortunate truth. And I don't say that, mockingly, but that's just the reality. And so many people will follow her into that realm of Catholicism and ultimately lead people astray. And so we have to be very leery of these things because, I mean, that's how these things work, right? I mean, if you are just spewing lies and nonsense all the time, no one's ever going to listen to you. But if you are mixing in 99% truth with 1% falsehoods, well, that's how true deception works. And so you have to wonder what's going on. Because after being on this platform for, this long, not real long, but 5-6 months, I can tell you that you don't grow to the levels that these people have grown organically. It just doesn't happen, in my opinion. So you have to wonder. And then you have Tucker, another one that, he's talking all kinds of stuff, and a lot of it is great. And I'm glad to hear it. And it seems as if he has found his way and that he's following Yeshua, and finding Yehovah, the God of all things, and that's great. That's what I wish for everybody. But you have to wonder, like, what's going on here? Because a lot of these topics, I mean, listen, 15, 20 years ago, it was chemtrails, fluoride in the water. I mean, I'm even hearing things now about the ink on the receipts. That's something I heard 15 years ago. And now it's being discussed openly. Like all of these conspiracies, all of these things are being talked about by these major voices. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying what we have to be very careful of is that we don't let our guards down completely with these people just because they have these huge followings and everybody's listening, everybody's following. And so surely it's a trusted source. And if they just talk about God every once in a while and they act as if that's the place that they're coming from, well, then clearly we can trust them, right? Wrong. Wrong. We must, in this time now, keep our guard up against all voices. And so it's just something I wanted to put out. I find it very interesting. I'm curious of other people's thoughts, if anybody else is considering this. And so I'll leave you with just one more thought on this topic because I don't want to go on too far with it, just something I wanted to mention here. But, Yeshua, Jesus, he tried to keep this very simple when he was asked, how do we know if we can trust whoever? Like, how do we know if we can trust these people out there? And he understood that this was a universal concept and something that everybody ultimately would face. And so he kept it very simple. And he gave us one strategy, one tactic that we can vet everybody by. One thing. And this is what we should be vetting all of these voices through. By their fruits, you will know them. By their fruits. And so as you listen to all these voices, no matter who they are, just know big numbers does not equal big heart. And it does not equal big place in God's kingdom. Okay? We need to be vetting them by their fruit. That's how we vet people. That's how we vet voices. That's how we know who we can trust and who we can't. We need to look at their fruit. And I can tell you personally that as I look out across all the voices in media today, a lot of people have turned away from the mainstream and have looked to these alternative sources. Well, even amongst all of these very popular alternative sources, there are many wolves in sheep's clothing, I can assure you. And as you use this vetting process of knowing them by their fruit, you will begin to weed a lot of them out. I can tell you that for sure. And so, just my little spiel. As always, sorry about your toes if I stepped on them. I am Brad Casper. Until the next one, subscribe. We're out.